Hello, you. It's me. Thank you so much for your message on Messenger. I really, really appreciate your very, very kind words, and know that I'm so grateful for both of you. And I'm so grateful for even just the ability to catch up with Gerard yesterday. It meant the world. And even though we don't speak and we don't keep in contact a lot, as you know, and I'm sure you know this, you guys are very, very dear to me. You always have been, you always will be. Suffice to say, I'm sure Gerard's filled you in on my journey over the last probably 2.5 years. It's been a very, very difficult one, to say the least. And I won't unpack it. I'm happy for you to speak to Gerard about that, because he got probably a little bit more than what he bargained for. But having said that, it is what it is. I want you to know that I'm going well, and it was great to be up on the Gold Coast, but there was a tinge of sadness there as well too, because it was a holiday that we would normally do as a family, and so now you face the reality of actually going on your first holiday with your 16-year-old daughter. And it was great for us to spend some time together, but there's a part of me that's very sad, and there's another part of me which is a little bit mad, saying, why aren't you here, Nina? But anyway, enough of that. Looking forward, I'm in a good space. I had a very, very tough 24 just not only just settling down in the first half of the year with the break from Nina, but also I had some pretty serious health issues right through 2024. So don't know if Gerard told you, but I nearly wasn't here to have that conversation with Gerard, and also to send you this message. I was in ICU for 2 weeks at the end of June, start of July, with pneumonia and sepsis, septic shock, influenza A, and COVID. And so I was in a very, very bad way. And on the way in, they were not sure whether I was coming out. So I'm very, very grateful to the good Lord upstairs, who's decided to keep me here, because he's obviously determined that I've got many, many more people to piss off along the way, etc., etc., etc. So here I am, grateful for that. Then there's the recovery, which is significant after something like that, because your body just takes an absolute beating. I then got COVID again after that, so that was happy. And just as I started to get back from that, I broke 3 of my ribs at the second week of October. So 2024 was an absolute dream for me. And look, I'm in a good place now. I've been training again for the last 4 to 5 weeks. I put a good block of training together, then Christmas, etc., but I'm okay. So looking forward into 2025, it's the year of the rebirth and rebuild. I want to lead into the fact that whilst Gerard didn't say too much, because it's confidential and it's a unique situation between you two, he did say that you were having some challenges. And so for me, because I love you both dearly, I don't want to speak into offering an opinion, because I don't have a place to. And I won't be even offering a he said or she says, taking sides. I don't do that, because I just love you both too much. But what I do think I need to do is give you, as I gave Gerard, the benefit of, very, very sadly, my insight into my last 2.5 years, what I've learnt, what my takeaways are, and what advice I think I should give you in relation to where you guys are at, without really knowing the issues. And I think that it's a very simple situation where, for me, I learnt that couples need to communicate properly and effectively, not just communication in relation to downloading and one-way traffic, but both couples need to accept that they're a team. They got married to be a team. And a really good analogy was given to me by a counsellor that I'd been seeing to get through my stuff, and that is that marriages will always have ups and downs. And whether it's Gerard or whether it's you, whether it was me or whether it's Nina, you made a commitment to each other through marriage to tackle that as a team. And that involves communication, but also it actually involves perspective in understanding that when you tackle a problem as a team, where the communication breaks down and where the challenges arose for myself and Nina is, if you can imagine sitting at a kitchen table and you've got chairs on either side, and there's three parts that there's three parts to the issue. There's yourself, Gerard, and the problem. And as a part of you both being a team and tackling a problem as a team, you and Gerard should be on one side of the table, irrespective of whose fault it is, whether it's yours or whether it's his. You're a team. You should be on one side of the table, and the problem should be on the other side, and both of you should be facing into the problem to solve the problem together. Sadly, what happened with Nina was that she swapped sides and she was sitting next to the problem and then hammering me. And the challenge is that the second you shift perspective and jump on the side of the problem rather than the side of your partner, it is an extinction level event. There is no win and there's no coming back. And so I would encourage you to remember that you guys have built a life together. You've built an amazing life together, and you've done that because, to whatever extent, you've been a team. You might have been a good team, you might have been a bad team, you might have been a dysfunctional team, but you're a team. And so with the challenges that you're having at the moment, tackle them as a team. Don't tackle them at 30 paces where you're facing off against each other, because there's no win. And then you've got the extra layer of, if you tackle it like that and face off at 30 paces, there's a winner and there's a loser in that particular battle, but the real losers are the kids, because what they do is they see their parents positioning themselves against each other. One potentially always tries to take a dominant role, and then the other one's subservient, but it's the example that is set to the kids. And here's what I learned. That's the first part in relation to how I'd suggest you look at your problems. Don't worry about fault. You're a team, tackle them together. And what I know is that even if, for example, the fault was mine, that might have been the action, but there's another part that Nina played in that problem as well too. There is no such thing as it being 100% one person's fault all the time. So as a team, you've got to own your space. You've got to humble yourself. You've got to put your ego in your back pocket if that's necessary, whether it's Gerard or you. And you've got to come together and look each other in the eye, fall back in love with each other and say, you know what, we're actually a little bit off track at the moment, but these challenges, we'll get through them together. So that's my first piece of advice. Never ever forget and go back to why you guys fell in love, and don't break the team, because there are no winners, really. There are no winners, and there are multiple losers, which then sort of brings me to the next thing, is that with the challenges that I had with Nina, again, won't go into the whys and wherefores. Gerard can unpack it a little bit if he wants, don't mind. There's no secrets between us three. We've been through too much over the years together. But I've also learnt, Helen, that I'll say this to you with all my heart, it's not worth it on the other side. It's not worth it. I'm in my mid-50s. Gerard's probably there. I think you're somewhere around about approaching 50. Bloody hell, sorry about that. But for whatever challenges you are having in the marriage that seem very real at that point in time, let me tell you from my experience and, being the person that actually got you guys together, I want to be in some very, very small way someone that might help you stay together. The problems that you face in your marriage, whilst they might appear like a 10 out of 10 to both of you right now, I can tell you that they are about a 2 out of 1,000 compared to what happens on the other side to everything if you decide to split. Your whole world will change in every single aspect. Everything you thought you had, you don't have. Everything that you've built is completely and utterly destroyed. And the emotional trauma and absolute destruction that happens along the way, both to yourself, as adults, but more importantly to the kids. Once it's done, it cannot be taken back. It cannot be taken back. I've struggled massively, Helen, with the issue of what happened with myself and Nina, because I've seen the impact it's had on the kids. So to give you an idea, I think Grace, I'm all over her because she's mine, but my other daughter, Laura, who was from Nina's previous marriage, who I called my daughter and I loved her, as you know, for 23 years, I haven't heard or spoken to her in 12 months. And it's the greatest pain, I can tell you, that a parent can feel when their child drops them like they've just fucking died. And, I have to front up every day for Grace, and I've got to front up for myself, and I do, and I'm good. But the pain that I feel through my eldest daughter basically treating me like I haven't existed, and I never did, I cannot tell you the trauma that has unpacked. And that's for me, but also for her. I can't tell you that the trauma that's been going on in her, that she's having to deal with, that probably caused her to act like that. It's just absolutely horrendous. And so, you're talking about an extinction level event of nuclear proportions. All the assets get divided. Everything gets sold. Lawyers get involved. They don't play nice. The kids are traumatised beyond all conceivable belief. And even though, Gerard might have his family in Chinchilla and you might have your family just locally to go back to, they're not your family. In a sense, they're not. Your family are the four of you. That's your family. And that's where your priorities are, and that's where they should be. And so what I learnt is that my great disappointment and my great sadness with Nina is I've had to learn to forgive her for the fact that she chose her own personal happiness over that of our marriage, our 23 years together, our 3 kids, and our 2 grandkids. And I can tell you that with the counselling that I've had, and I've seen multiple counsellors in the last 2 years, every single one of them have said to me that they've seen this phenomenon happening in couples in their 40s, 50s and 60s now for probably the last decade. It's, with respect, it's 80% of the time the woman that leaves. And in a significant amount of those cases, 2, 3, 4, 5 years on, the grass is never greener on the other side, and they always regret their decisions. And Nina's flying at the moment because she's out there being happy and on Facebook and, doing this and doing that. But the grass will not be greener for her on the other side. And it certainly hasn't been greener for me either. So I'm not just sort of leaning into Nina, even though she's the one that walked away. It's not me. I find myself, Helen, at 55 years old going, fuck, what's happening with my life? And the stress and the trauma that I've gone through is nuclear. So I won't unpack that any further, but my second piece of advice to you from someone that has been through door A, when you guys still have door A and B, is at all costs, do not go through door A. Just don't do it. Find a way to create time for each other. Find a way to start focusing on why you fell in love and go back and date each other. Fall in love again. All the other shit is just that, it's shit. What he did, what you're doing, whatever the issues are, I actually don't know, but whatever it is, it's symptoms and it's symptomatic of the fact that somewhere, somehow, both of you or one of you made a decision to deviate away from the us plan. And it became like this. And so, as a result of that, then when you move from this to that, slowly but surely it goes like this. And then it starts moving away. And the rest is history. So Helen, one of my longest and most dearest friends, and you know you are, for whatever part is yours, and don't worry, I spoke to Gerard pretty strongly as well too, but from me to you, I love you dearly. for whatever part happens to be there, because it will be some part. It's not possible for it to be 100% one person's fault all the time. It just doesn't happen. Whether it's 50-50, 60-40, 70-30, 80-20, whatever it is, there's always, because you were a team, it's the team that has to accept the responsibility. I couldn't just go back to Nina and say it's 100% your fault. It sends an unbelievably, well, it's just actually not true. But it also sends an unbelievably bad message to the kids about the fact that they can simply point the finger and not accept responsibility. It models really destructive behaviour, because whatever software we have running, whatever habits we have running, we normally get from our parents. And then unless there's an awareness and an intervention, we model that into our kids. And if that ends up becoming great modelling for a happy life, an abundant life, a respectful life, and also most importantly, particularly in 2025, when everything is so superficial, if it models deep, lasting respect and relationships, that's the bit that you want to model. But if it's not modelling that, then all it's going to do is in 5-10 years' time, whatever challenges you are going to go through with Gerard and he with you at the moment, with Maddie and with Geordie, they'll end up having exactly the same challenges, because they will model the behaviour that they see from their most important and most closest influences, which is yourself and Gerard, which is why I say, I don't know if you're on the same page or whether you're still the team, but be the team. Sort things out together. I've said to him strongly yesterday that there's no language that should ever be used where he should be blaming you or you did this, but vice versa, coming back with him, and certainly not in front of the kids, because you're basically sending a message that it's okay, even though you're married, to not accept responsibility as a team, and then to start saying, not my problem, 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 not my problem. And that's what I model. The team, it's both of your problems. So that's the other piece of advice, is that there's a few things in there, and I'm sort of rambling a little bit, but I really wanted to have this chat with you. I really wanted to give you, in maybe this 20-minute video, the benefit of a really, really life-changing and devastating last 2 years for me. And if there is even half of something in here that allows you to be here and go back to there and sort it out, please, 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 I beg both of you, do it. The last piece of advice that I'm going to give both of you, and I gave this to Gerard strongly, is that you need to see a counsellor. Both of you need to put your egos in your pocket, because both of you are strong people. You don't have the answers, because if you did, you wouldn't be having the problems. And therefore, if you had the answers, you wouldn't be having the problems, but you would also have the solutions, which you don't. So please, 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 go to the counselling, commit to the counselling, both as a couple and individually, and take the time to not only work on your marriage, but take the time to work on yourself, to get yourself right. Because somewhere deep inside for both of you, the reason why you've gone from here to potentially here, and God, I hope not here, but the reason why you're here is because the partnership has had some challenges. But the reason why the partnership has had the challenges is because the individuals have got stuff that they're carrying individually that they have not worked on in themselves. And there will be something there. I'll guarantee you there'll be things there, because there's been shitloads of stuff for me. So go to the counselling. Put your ego in your pocket. If that's needed, you might not need to do that. I certainly did. And be truthful, be honest, and actually go there. And this is a really important distinction. Go there not with the intent of pointing the finger. Go there with the intent of restoration and getting the team back. So on that note, I'm going to leave you on that note, because it's coming up to 20 minutes. But I want to really appreciate you. I want to honour you and Gerard as two of my longest friends. You guys have got something amazing. You've built something amazing. And please, please, please honour that, because I can absolutely assure you, neither of you want to end up like me. Please don't end up like me. in a situation where either you're leaving or you're the one that has been left. It's an extinction level event in every single aspect, and the life that you think might be better and that might seem more attractive if you walk away, I guarantee you both, is 1,000 times worse than what you can ever imagine. So on that note, I know I'm painting a bit of doom and gloom, but please learn from my journey. Take out of it what's important to you and fight for what you've built. Fight for each other. Because both of you, I tell you, both of you are beautiful people. You've got a great family. You've built a wonderful life together. And that whole box of the time you've spent together, which is nearly 30 years now, it's absolutely worth it. Don't close the lid and throw it away, because at the stage of our life where we're at, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Get to 70 or 80 years old and sit on the hill with your husband. Hold hands and say, you know what? We had some bumps. In fact, we had some big bumps. Might have gone over a few potholes, but you know what? Our kids turned out great. We've got grandkids now, and you know what? We did it. We absolutely did it. We were one of the ones that got to the end, and we did it. Be that couple, because you and Gerard are good enough to be those people. Some people aren't. Some people are destined to be apart. Sadly, me and Nina were destined to be apart. You and Gerard have the opportunity to be better than me and Nina. And please, please, please take the opportunity to do it. So with all my heart, I love you both. And please stay in touch. Bye.